First of all, just, man, extremely proud of our whole organization. You know, from the moment our season ended last year, in our off season, we talked about this game. We had it circled. We talked about it all throughout winter workouts, through spring practice, through the summer. And we had, you know, different guys that had played in this program that are still on this team that have played in this game to speak to what it means to win this game. And we brought people from the outside that played at Cincinnati. I mean, just so many different things that we did to embody what it means for this game. So in our heads, before we even got here, we were getting that bell back. And I think, and we knew it was going to be a fight. We knew it was going to be a dog fight. We didn't know how long it was going to take. It ended up taking the whole game. And what I loved about it was a complete team win. Offense, defense, and kicking. Can't say enough about the fight for those guys. I mean, it wasn't beautiful. We still gave up some deep shots for touchdowns that obviously we don't like. But I think in true form, Corey Connor did what he does. He runs the ball so hard, he breaks tackles. He ended up over 100 yards again today. Xavier Henderson, Joe Royer, two of our top targets, I thought had big days today. I mean, Joe scored 2 touchdowns, and neither one of them counted, which is unfortunate. 2 of the oddest plays. Xavier was very solid again today. I thought Brendan played a very solid game as well. And then our special teams was huge today. We have not been complete in our special teams thus far, but we covered well. We get a turnover on the punt team. We knocked down 2 50-yard plus field goals. It's the first time it's ever been done in the history of Cincinnati by a guy who's never kicked a field goal for us. And there's an incredible story. Nathan Hawks, what he was able to accomplish today. But I'm going to tell you, it just goes to show you, if you work hard and you keep doing what you're supposed to do, when you get your opportunity, you're going to shine. And that's what he did. He never said anything. He just kept kicking. All camp did a great job for us and never knew when your number was going to get called. And it got called today in a big-time way to be able to make these 2 field goals. So I'm really proud of him. And now our sets us up for our conference season starts next week with Houston.
Did you sense a different attitude in the locker room before this game today compared to the first 2 games of the season?
Well, I mean, I've really sensed it all week. I think obviously we're disappointed with the fourth quarter of last week's game, and I thought our guys came back Sunday, to be on a mission this week. It started at practice on Sunday, quite honestly. I mean, it's not a short practice, but the boys were very intentional about their approach. We had a really good approach this whole week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, every day, ring the bell. That's all our guys kept thinking, So it just draws a laser focus on what needs to be accomplished.
Is that something y'all said all week, ring the bell?
Oh, yeah. We wanted to ring the bell. And that's downstairs is what you kept hearing. As soon as we got it, they just kept ringing it. I mean, when you work so hard, and that's, obviously this game has been around for a long time. It was the 128th meeting, and now we're on top, 61, 60, and 7. And so we just put a huge emphasis on it, and we were not leaving until we got the bell.
How often did you hear that this week?
We heard it a lot. Every time somebody broke it down as a team, that's what it was ring the bell. Every time somebody got up to speak, that's what you heard. It was just, just a laser focus on getting this bell.
What did you tell Hawks, and are you shocked? I mean, your first 2 field goals, 50 and 55.
Yeah.
Those are long.
Well, again, I said this maybe at the press conference on Tuesday that we were competing. We compete at every position, but we're obviously the kicker situation. We needed to be able to compete for that. And we saw practice Tuesday, Wednesday, as we got into Thursday, and then really I think yesterday told Nathan he was going, and and then you never know when your number's going to get called, man. It happened to be 2 long ones out here today, but when he puts his head down and when you don't even have to look at the ball, you can hear it when you hear that thump, you know what's going in. I mean, he's been very confident in his approach, and which I obviously love, and he didn't waver today.
Your defense bent but didn't break in the second half. What was the challenge to them on the sideline to not have a repeat of last week?
Yeah, when we got up 2 scores, I mean, I think they took a 14 or 15 play drive, went down the field, but we wanted to make them have to earn that, not give up a quick one. And they ended up scoring, going for 2, didn't get it. That was big for our defense to hold them there, to keep it with 8 points. And then they get the ball back and they drive down again. We stop them on 4th down. I mean, this game is crazy. I mean, sometimes teams are going to move the ball on you, but if you keep them out of the end zone, it gives you a chance to win. I mean, even their first drive, I think it was their first drive, they throw a pick. We intercept it down near the end zone. So, obviously we're not where we need to be yet defensively, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. I think our run defense was pretty good today. We kept them and made them one-dimensional. Obviously we got to just stay on top. I mean, we gave up a couple of those throws. Number 15 is a solid player. I mean, he made a couple contested vertical throws. Made some good catches there. And Gabbert's, man, he's a 6-year player. What was he in 2020? MAC Freshman of the Year or something like that. I mean, he's played a lot of football. He's a good quarterback. He's got a live arm. So we knew it was going to be a test.
How huge was Henderson's reliance today, just knowing you could go to him in that intermediate area if you needed quick yards?
Yeah, I mean, Xavier, man, he's a solid player. He's very consistent. You know what you're going to get out of him. I think Brendan really believes in him. He'll make the plays for him. And I think their corner number 13, the boundary corner, is a solid player. He's a really good player, and so it made us earn some of those plays right there. But he's a consistent player. I mean, we know we're going to go get to him in situations where we need to get 10, 11, 12 yards, and he's able to get that.
Talk about the defensive line. Obviously, Cam Rutherford's shifted to that edge position. Just talk about what you saw from him there.
Yeah, it's kind of been musical chairs up front. We know that when you lose a couple of guys like we did preseason, for the season with Coleman and Hunt, and then we didn't have who's our guy that was out today with the elbow was out. Rob Jackson was out today too. So there's another guy, a defensive end that plays. So we just felt like try to get a little bit more size. Let's put him outside and see what he can do. Parker got a lot more snaps today as well. I think last week maybe 10 or 12, probably today over 20. So really just trying to find some guys that we can get in there, even though they're young and inexperienced, just to get in there and mix it up and make some plays. So overall I think he played solid.
When you call it the play for Pryor, is that one that you feel pretty confident that he's going to take it, or is that just all in?
Yeah, we ran it early in the game and Pryor hit it. We missed a block out on the perimeter, but I think he got 6 yards. It was the first drive. So, we came back to it because they just over-pursuing. So you run the counter back off that outside zone. And I thought also at the time we had wore their defense down. So right before half, I think we had a 14 or 15 play drive, maybe 8 or 9 minutes, went 95 yards and didn't get any points. But I did think we wore them down. We came back out in the second half and had another 15 play drive. And at that point, I think they were a little bit tired, and then we hit that counter on them. And I think when he hit the edge, if you go back and watch it, he outruns an inside linebacker and a free safety to get to the perimeter, and great blocks down the field. Xavier Henderson on down the sideline to spring him for a touchdown.
Going along with that, well, you guys had just 43 rushing yards at the half. You finished with 215. What were the key adjustments you made at the half to come back out and really pound them in the second half on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, we just challenged the guys up front, say, listen, we're going, because I felt like in the first half we didn't really get it established to get it going. We were more throwing it, and so second half, again, trying to wear them down a little bit. We thought we did, and then Corey kind of did what he did and broke a lot of tackles, getting tough yards. Even the last field goal, I mean, he broke some great tackles to get all the way down to get in the field goal range to wear them down. It was amazing that you end up over 200 yards rushing when we were struggling, I think, early in the game. But just challenged the boys up front. They came through for us.
Speaking of the guys up front, D'Artagnan goes down after getting appeared to roll up on. Do you just have any update on him?
No, I mean, obviously, I think we'll go back, probably have to do some x-rays and that type thing on a lower leg injury and see where we're at with him. He got dinged up a little bit at the Pitt game as well. I think missed some practice early in this past week, so I'm not sure, maybe the same thing, but we'll have to go back and see.
Eric Phillips had 2 big sacks. What's it mean that someone who's been in this rivalry for so long made 2 big plays at Tennessee?
Last night in our Friday night meeting, I told the very first thing I told our team, I said, when you get a chance and opportunity, you got to make the play. And I specifically said, Eric Phillips, I'm talking to you. Because he had a chance last week in the game against Pitt, and it slipped through his hands. And I said, you get that opportunity to get in the backfield, because he gets there a lot in practice. And that's why I tell him, you're back in the backfield for us. Get him down. You can hit the quarterback. It's a game, Against us, you can't hit us. And he did it, man. So I pointed at him when he got his first sack. And I mean, so that's great, because he's got the ability to get to the quarterback. It's just a matter of getting him down. Man, that was huge plays for him.
You get the game ball to Rick Flick. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, Rick Flick, for those of you who don't know, 11 years ago here, his son was a player leaving this game and got killed in a car accident. And and he does so many great things for our program behind the scenes. Helps us travel, pack stuff, anything that needs to be done, he's there. A loyal supporter, but physically here doing the work for us. And I just felt, man, I don't know when we're ever coming back here again, and it's just fitting for us because I told the guys in the locker room, it takes every single one of us, our players, our whole staff. We got a huge organization, a guy like Rick Flick, but I wanted to recognize him in front of the whole team for the things that he does for this program. That was a tough loss for him 11 years ago. It's very emotional for him to be here and for him to win like that. We wanted to give him the game ball.
Second straight week, defense in the first possession gets an interception. What kind of tone does that set, not only for the defense, but for the team overall?
Yeah. Oh, it's exciting. I think it's those momentum plays, particularly when the team, they were moving the ball down the field, and all of a sudden, just like last week, and they throw the ball up down the middle, and our guys go and make the play, get their hands on it, make the play. I mean, that was huge. The turnovers were big today. We get that turnover, and obviously they get the punter muffed it, and we scored the next play. I mean, we won the turnover margin today, and that's one of the reasons we won the game.
Josh Minkins wasn't able to go today, but he was very involved on the sidelines, very energetic, coaching up the defense. Just talk about what it means to have his leadership there on the sideline in a big game like this.
Yeah, Josh, man, even though he just got here, it's been he's probably the biggest cheerleader when he's not playing, and he does that even when he's dressed out playing in the game. I mean, he's just cheering for his teammates. He brings great energy on the sideline. He's also a great player. Missed him out there today. He was one of the ones that got the pick last week against Pitt early in the game. I think hopefully he's close to coming back this week. He feels a lot better now, obviously, than last week, and he told me I'm coming back next week. So, it's a big game, obviously, next week. We got Houston, man. It's the start of the conference Big 12 season. We're excited about it, going back to Nippert. I think we got to take the momentum that we have right now after this big win and parlay it into something great.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Questions for Nate?
When were you told that you were going to be the guy for this game?
Yesterday, right before our meeting started, Coach Combs came up and let me know that I'm the guy, and that they all believe in me. So,
What kind of mindset did you go into?
I feel like I've prepared myself. Like every game, I prepare like this is going to happen. So I don't really feel like I really had to switch anything. So yeah, I was kind of ready to go. Did the same stuff I usually do the night before, day of. So
When you hit that 55-1 early on, how'd that feel? And what did it look like when you see it go up? How'd every part of that feel?
it was great to see it off the foot. I knew it came off well. There were a little bit of nerves. I felt the wind on my back, so I was like, okay, this can be a little easier. But I nodded at Fletch, and I felt my leg shake a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm nervous. And then I saw it off my foot, and I was like, okay, we're good.
What about the one later in the game?
That one, I was ready to go. I had confidence going into it. I knew the coaches trust me, so I feel like I'm not going to be put out there in a position that I can't do something. So
Walk us through your journey. Obviously, you started at Wittenberg, come here, become the first player to hit 2 50-yard field goals. Just walk us through your journey as a player.
yeah, so I started at Witt my freshman year. I didn't take any kickoffs. I hit maybe a couple PATs that year. Hit the portal actually, and then nothing really came about. So I went back, and then my sophomore year, still didn't take kickoffs, but field goals. I took the long ones, which was like anything outside of 35 yards, I'd say, and then rotated like PATs. And then after that season, I was like, okay, I'm just going to the portal again. And I actually decided to just enroll here as a student, and then got in touch with Coach Combs and kind of went from there, because my kicking coach, Tim Williams, he used to know Coach Combs, so he kind of set me up. So I reached out to them and then got a tryout, and kind of the rest is history from there.
You three off the record, how far can you go? Because it looked like you had some room on the couple.
Pre-game, I've hit from I think 65 before, maybe a little longer, but the winds at D3 stadiums are kind of crazy, so that helped me a little bit. But no, 55 was the longest I've ever hit in a game. In high school, I hit 50 and hit the crossbar, and it went in. But that was the longest I've ever hit.
How awesome was it knowing that just you were nervous going in, but the confidence to give you that opportunity in a game that was still completely up in the air at that point?
Yeah, again, I just kind of trusted myself. I know what I'm capable of, and I feel like the coach is putting me out there for like my first field goal being from that distance. That just shows that like they trusted me also. So it kind of calmed me a little bit knowing that, and then looking back at it again, like I don't know, I feel like there wasn't anything that was going to go wrong in that situation.
How much did Coach Satterfield and the rest of the coaching staff emphasize special teams, especially in a rivalry game?
It was a huge thing this week. A lot of attention to detail, especially last week being so close. And then their kicker last week, he had a huge leg, so their field goals really hurt us. So it's definitely important to be able to knock those down. And then in punt, like kickoff, KOR, it's always good to get some yards or pin them deep. So yeah, all week long it's attention to detail, and it's always like that. Coach Combs always wants us paying attention, locked in at all times. So,
along with your journey, are there any kickers elsewhere in college football or the NFL that you'd like to watch, kind of model how you kick after?
Justin Tucker is really the one that I like to watch, especially like I've kind of recently like started doing this. He kind of like on his longer field goals, he'll take a step back and then like get himself back into it. I like to do that kind of. I don't know, I feel like I'm going to get through the ball a little better when I do that. So yeah, I kind of try to go off of him.
Nathan, walk us through what Coach Combs' message was after the game. Obviously, 2 big field goals. What did he say to you after this game?
There was just a lot of, it was in the locker room, there's just a lot of, like, everybody's just yelling in there, so I didn't hear everything. But I remember Coach Sat telling me that that was the first game where a UC kickers hit 2 50-plus yard field goals. So that was awesome. I had no idea that was a thing. But yeah, it was just great. Like, being down in the locker room, everybody's celebrating. I was kind of in that moment as well, ringing the bell. So.
Did you ever think you'd be in this position, going back to Wittenberg, entering the portal twice, that you make 2 kicks in an FBS game?
To be completely honest, no. When I transferred here, I kind of I thought about it, and then I tore my quad and hip flexor, so my tryout got pushed back till the week before fall camp last year. So through that time, I was kind of maybe time to just hang it up, let it go. But no, I'm kind of glad I stuck with it. My parents pushed me all the time. They wouldn't let me give it up because they knew kind of meant for this. So.
What is it about Kerry Combs that he brings that stands out to you?
He's got a fire about him. He flips a switch. As soon as we're in the facility, he flips a switch and it's all football, and then it's all about us. He'd give everything for all of us, and I feel like I just kind of have to reciprocate that, give it back to him, and he really doesn't ever doubt any of us. You can never see that he's doubting any of us, so he's got confidence in us at all times.
You tweeted yourself eating, so how did it feel to eat?
It felt great. It felt great to have the ball in my hands at the end of the game, being able to close the game. O-line opened up some holes, and I hit one, and we bleeded the clock.
It looks like you're breaking tackles on basically every run you have. What do you kind of credit that to? Because you were good last year, but I don't know if you were consistently this good.
Off-season program. I trained a lot last season, but I trained even harder this season. My goal is to go to another level, and I'm still not there yet, but I'm close.
Corey, you talked about living in the facility earlier this week. Walk us through that final run where you go through Matt Salopaki. What did you see there on that play that really allowed you to go through and keep this game going?
I just wanted it more than they did. They had a linebacker that fit the hole, but I wanted it more. He couldn't stop me, and I just kept going, and I was trying to stay in bounds, protect the ball.
How'd it feel to ring that bell?
It felt great. Last year, we ain't even gonna speak on last year. This year, we ringing the bell.
What was that celebration like, walking down the field, ringing the bell with the team and everybody? What was that like?
It was great because this was one of our off-season goals. One of our key goals to this program, and that's one goal marked off.
Do you put this rivalry in a more different perspective now that you guys aren't going to be regularly scheduled and you guys are going to hold on to the victory bell in between multiple years, a couple years?
Yeah, so it means even more now because it's not an every year thing. We're going to hold on to it for as long as until we play again. We're gonna hold on it forever. Ain't getting it back.
You all talked about it. You talked about how special this is. You can see the meaning, to this game, hear it in your voice. What is it about this game that makes it so special to you and the team? It's
just the history of the game. All of the Bearcats that came before us. We know how much this bell means. Coach Combs explained that back in the day, they had one and they were ringing the bell, and then we won it, and we were tired of them ringing that bell, so we took it, and that's what we did today.
Corey, talk about what it means. Obviously, a big victory today. What does it mean for this team to get a victory like this in a rivalry game, heading into Big 12 play, the confidence within this team? How does it raise that head?
It's great. We're bouncing back. And then this was a great way to bounce back, win a historic game, bring this bell back to Nipper, and just build on and get ready for Big 12 play.
Corey, being one of the leaders on the team, was the energy on the sideline different when the game got tight this week?
Yeah, the energy was different. This week we knew we had to finish. Last week let it get away from us, but this week we weren't going to let that happen again.
How y'all doing, man?
Great.
I'm wonderful.
Eric, Coach Sat said he pointed at you last night in the meeting and said, you need to make a play. You've been in the position before this season. Mm-hmm. How much did that challenge you, and how much did that kind of force you to take it to another level?
That challenged me a lot, man. That challenged me a lot to know that my coach, he feel comfortable with me, and he know how important it is. And I'm a senior, man. I'm a super senior. So, he just telling me if I'm get there, make the play. You know what I'm saying? I had last week against Pittsburgh, I had 2 sacks, and I had them and I didn't make it, you know what I'm saying? And he told me, hey, we need them plays. You know what I'm saying? We're going to need them plays this week. We're going to need it, and that's what I did.
What's been the difference? What was the difference completing a sack this week versus the first couple of weeks, getting a lot of pressures, but not necessarily getting them to the ground?
The different, I don't know, you know, it's the different. I'm just happy I was able to get him down.
Easier to grip a little bit this week?
Look, you know, last week he was 6'6". This week we got a little brat, so, you know, we got him down. I was able to get him down.
You speak on him as little there. Obviously, the one sack you had him about one hand.
Oh, yeah.
Lost to 7.
Yeah.
Talk us what you saw on that play.
I actually thought it was a run, so I was just really trying to go blow it up. But once I see that he held it back, I just ran through the tight end and grabbed both of them.
You're a Colerain guy. There's a lot of local dudes on both sides of this thing. What does that mean? Obviously,
it means a lot. I know a lot of them. Well, I used to know a lot of them guys over there, but it's you know, I've been going against them 6 years. You know what I'm saying? And I was close to committing here. You know, glad I didn't, but it was cool. It's cool. You know, I knew Brett since a freshman. You know what I'm saying? I used to come up here, chop it up with them guys, so it was cool.
Last year they came into Nippert. They took the victory well from you guys.
Embarrassing.
And then this year you guys go into Yager Stadium and take it back. What does that mean for you guys?
It means a lot. Last year they got dropped off at the club after they won the bill. So I'm saying, so we had that in the locker room. We had it in the locker room the whole week, showing how when they won, they was celebrating, they was happy, they was getting dropped off, but the bill was actually in the club. You know what I'm saying? So we felt that.
You gonna take it to Mia's when you get back to campus?
We in Martino's.
Okay.
Short Vine.
Eric, talk about this week. Obviously, Coach Sat said the whole motto this week was ring the bell, ring the bell. Being that veteran guy, how did you prepare for this matchup?
Shit, I prepare like I did every time, man. And I feel like last year that wasn't really a focus on ringing the bell because a lot of the new guys didn't really understand that rivalry. I'm from Cincinnati, and I played in Cincinnati. I understand that rivalry, you know what I'm saying? So to have everybody on board and have everybody know that this is a serious-ass rival, you know what I'm saying? Now that was cool to me.
Setting the edge this week, it seemed a lot stronger maybe the first 2 weeks. Is there anything you guys did differently or just more physical than Miami?
Just more physical than
How much momentum does this give you to continue the rest of the season? Because Big 12 play obviously opens up next
This
week.
gives us a lot of momentum, a lot of momentum. I think we're gonna keep coming together as a team. We're just gonna keep coming. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no crying, wasn't no, you know, when we gave up a touchdown, everybody had their heads up. Hey, we good. And you see the outcome. You know what I'm saying?
Eric, you speak on being from Colerain. Talk about the importance, obviously, of playing alongside Dante Corleone and everything he's been through. Talk about his journey back here.
That's important to me, you know. And honestly, I didn't realize how important it was until after the first game. I'm like, man, we really need this dude. This dude, he's a great leader. You know what I'm saying? He's a great leader. He picked everybody up, and to have him next to me and to be able to play with Dante, that's a lovely thing. There ain't too many people like him.